Good morning guys, it is 6:30 AM. My hair is still wet from my bath and I'm very tired because I only had 4 hours sleep, but it is well worth being tired because we are driving the GTR today up to Litchfield for its upgrades, its service, its wheel bearing noise issue being fixed, and a plethora of other things which are really exciting. And I've literally been sleepless for a few nights anyway, being so excited about it and literally dreaming about collecting the car. I've been that excited about this. I hope you can tell how passionate I am about the GTR. But let's go up there, let's get this thing tuned. My dad will be following us up in his C-Class Mercedes with my new exhaust system in it. So the new catback titanium exhaust system, new set of brakes and discs, and the rest of the exhaust system, the downpipes, sports cat downpipes and wide pipes are going to be in the boot of my car. And pretty much that is it. It's 100 miles each way, so dad's got to do 200 miles, but I've only got to do one. But it should be pretty sick nonetheless. We're going to take it pretty easy because of the state of the wheel bearing, but without further ado, let's have a cold start up and let's get to Litchfield Motors. How excited are you? Yay! So here in the UK, of course, there is still social distancing measures in place, which means we have to wear a mask. We're only allowed one customer in the actual sort of office bit at a time. But we've just arrived. We've got to get the exhaust parts out of Dad's car and get I'll tell them the rest of the parts are in the rear of mine. But yeah, loads of cool cars here, as always at Litchfield. Literally like 20 or 30 GTRs, if not more than that, with a full workshop with all the cars up on the ramps in there, as you can see. But yeah, we should be pretty excited with all the stuff we're getting done, because we're pretty much going to stage 4.25, which is going to be insane. So we've got to go and talk about what's happening and tell them where all the parts are, what I want done, what parts I want given back to me after it's done. Because obviously what's nice about stage 4.25 is the fact that you can sort of set it back to standard if you want, because it is just bolt-on mods. So I'm going to keep all the original parts so I can revert it to standard. They've got a lot of cool cars for sale here at Litchfield as well, so if you're in the market for a GTR and I've inspired you to get one, check their stuff that's for sale out, because it is absolutely insane. They've got a stage 5 2011 for sale, as well as a couple of newer ones, and I think one of them is the LM20 at the back there with the carbon gurney flap and the Volt racing wheels, but absolutely epic. And I can't wait to see what it's like once it's been tuned, because I think it's going to be a completely different animal. But here it is parked up, looking pretty dirty, to be honest. So on the way back, we have came to Greenham Kawasaki, but as you guys know, it's still locked down in England, so we have like a 2-metre distance rule in showrooms, but showrooms have reopened. I actually had my CBT booked for the 25th of March, which was 2 days after lockdown started. So since then I haven't actually done it, but we're going to go and have a look. We're definitely probably not going to buy a bike today, but we're going to have a look and see what it's like to finance a 125 with 0% APR, because I need to learn a bike to learn how to ride motorbikes. So let's go and have a look at what Greenham Kawasaki have to offer. So we've just had a walk around, and of course we have to wear PPE and all that sort of stuff because of the social distancing, but really friendly in here, really nice staff. I've got to say, there is a really cool selection of bikes in here, not just Kawasaki's as well. There's some other manufacturers that are available as well for second-hand purchases and stuff. But the bikes that I'm interested in getting my CBT soon are the Z125 and the Ninja 125. Now the reason for this is they're 125cc, they're just under 15 horsepower in terms of power output, and that means they're legally allowed to be ridden on when you have a CBT. So these would be sort of like the learner bikes that we have to sort of start with here in Europe if you just want to ride with the CBT. And you've got to be 24 to go straight to an unrestricted license, and it's quite expensive to do that as well. So I think I want a smaller displacement bike to learn on anyway and get to grips with sort of changing gears, tap dancing, and not endoing everywhere I go, and not fishtailing everywhere I go. So these are the bikes that I'd be choosing between. I'm actually pretty convinced at this point that I want the Ninja 125. This thing looks absolutely sick, and I think it'd be a really nice toy to learn to ride on. It looks really cool, and from like an initial perspective it looks way bigger than a 125cc, unless you know what you're looking at, because it's so cool. It's got full suspension, nice brake discs with ABS. It's a fully fared bike. It's lovely, It's really nice, gorgeous looking, and I'd definitely get it in the lovely Kawasaki green colour, I think, on my spec. But the real reason I'm doing this is to learn to ride, and that's because the ultimate goal bike is also right next to the 125 that I want, which is the Kawasaki H2, a supercharged 1 litre bike with in excess of 200 brake horsepower, and it's just insane. I can't imagine how fast this would feel, because it makes my GTR seem slow. Even post-tune, you're talking 0 to 140 miles an hour in 8 seconds. To put that in perspective, my GTR takes like 11 and a bit seconds to get to 140 mile an hour, even post-tune. So that's like, I mean, off the line obviously slower because of lack of rubber, but after like sort of 30 or 40 mile an hour, this would munch my GTR literally for breakfast. And it sounds really cool as well. They're just such cool bikes, and the goal is to get one of these in a few years as my next toy when the GTR is paid off. But in the meantime, I still think these 125s look absolutely sick, and it's definitely something I'm considering getting within the next couple of months once I have my CVT. Well, I just got a call from Litchfield. We're actually driving around at the moment looking for Dad's new beta car, because we've pretty much reached the limit on this C-Class at the moment. It's at like 200,000+ miles, and it's definitely not going to pass its next MOT. So we found him a new C-Class, which was quite nice, but he really wants the 330D. But we're having a look anyway, and we're deciding what we're going to get. But anyway, I've just got a call from Litchfield, and we've been informed that the Sportscat Jap Speed downpipes do not actually fit, and they rub against the prop shaft. So they're going to have to be scrapped, and we're going to have to get some Litchfield downpipes to replace them. But luckily they have some second-hand ones, which I'm getting for a reasonable price. But it does mean I've got 2 catalytic converters that I don't need, and it sort of sucks. But shouldn't be too much of an extra expense on top of the service. So fingers crossed it'll be even louder with the alternate downpipes we're putting on it. I'm not saying the magic keyword that begins with D and ends with the feline, because then it's illegal, isn't it? So now we have to wait a whole week before we can see the GTR. It might be done in a couple of days, but I suspect I'll have to finish my night shifts before we go and collect it. But in other news, after going to Kawasaki, Dad's been looking for a new beta car. I mean, this is his car in general. He usually runs around in old Mercs and stuff, and he's had this C-Class for a fair number of years now. And it's definitely not going to pass its MOT, as previously mentioned. So we were shopping today for new cars, and we found a couple of 2009 cars we were interested in, namely a C220 59 plate Mercedes with really nice AMG alloys on it. Obviously it's an estate because he needs the space in the back for his fishing tackle. And we also looked at a BMW 330D from the same year, 59 plate, 2009. And we think we're going to go with the Beamer, but we're going to go and collect them tomorrow. So I guess we're going to round out this vlog with a new car collection, which is pretty unexpected, but pretty cool. And this thing's going to be apparently sent to South Africa instead of a scrap, so they can use them out there or something. Bit weird. But anyway, tomorrow morning we're going to be heading off, so I'll catch you in the morning. Peace.
It's a car.
It's a car. How many wheels has it got?
4!
There we go. I hadn't even got a spare, so it's genuinely only got 4. But as you guys can see, he's got a 320D and it is clean. I don't think I've ever seen him with a...
320?
Oh, 330, sorry. 330, the 3 litre. The 3 litre straight 6, single turbo. What was it, 250 horses thereabouts?
Yeah.
Something like that. Something like that. But actually, considering this thing is 10 years old, it is in very good nick. You can see the wheel arches have probably been resprayed at some point. Not recently, but they actually look really good. No visible rust spots at all. There's a few minor bits of rust under the boot at the back, but as a daily driver it gets 40 plus mpg, and it's actually really torquey, even from low down the rev range. The gearbox is super smooth. It is an auto, as you can see, but if you want to use the flappy paddles on the back of the steering wheel, that is an option for manual intervention. But yeah, alloys have been refurbed on it before we picked it up as well. They look absolutely lovely, and it's actually a really nice paint finish on it, and is a nice upgrade over the old Mercedes C270D we had before, which was a 2.7 litre turbo diesel estate as well, but with a manual gearbox, and they were really rare with manual gearboxes. So this is a way more common car, but it's actually a much nicer drive and way more comfortable because the suspension's not buggered and it will pass its MOT next year. So that is his new commuter, and in the meantime, let's get the camera focused on me again. I thought I'd give you guys an update on Litchfield. So the Sportscat downpipes I provided, like I said, didn't fit, so they are being changed to the Litchfield downpipes. So yeah, full stage 4.25. We're pushing exactly 25% horsepower, which is what my insurance allows for in overstock, which is the maximum I can push. So I'm probably not going to be tuning it for a few more years till I get a bit older. But in general, yeah, it's nearly done. We should be picking it up in 2 days' time. Also, the stock Brembo pads that I purchased, which are the stock reference number, they said were a really tight fit against the stock discs. So they couldn't really get the wheels to turn, so it was almost like locked in place where the thickness of it was so thick, so they could have been fakes. But I bought them off Auto Docs. I'm kind of annoyed, but Litchfield are replacing them with their front pads, which they'd recommend for road use anyway, and that's going to be an extra couple of £100. But only one wheel bearing needs doing, so luckily the cost of fixing the noise that I was getting is way less than I thought it was going to be, and we should be spending around the 7,000 mark. But we'll see what the bill is. On Saturday is Thursday today, and I'm about to do a night shift, so I'm picking it up after a night shift, so pray for me. Well guys, it's just after a night shift, so I've had 4 hours sleep and I'm shattered. But here we are on Saturday at Litchfield Motors again, and it looks like my car is actually finally done. Of course, we're still social distancing, hence the haircut and the lack of haircut and the face mask. But here is the GTR itself, and we now have the LM20 carbon fibre gurney flap on the rear of the car. I've got to go and pay for this now and get the bill and everything, but my God, is it looking cool. We've got the Litchfield sticker just above the GTR badge now as well. Oh, and it says LM660 on it. Wow. Oh my God. That is so cool. Right. I am absolutely ecstatic with this, and it's got all new brakes on it. They look incredibly shiny. Literally only just sort of put on the car. They look absolutely gorgeous. I'm so excited. Let's go and pay for this ridiculous expense. I'm 100% sure that the camera is not going to be doing it justice, but we've paid and everything is sorted. We've got all the old exhaust parts and everything ready to take home. I've got most of it in the boot, and Dad's currently strapping the old exhaust to the roof of his Beamer, which is going to be quite interesting following. I'm definitely going to be in front of him going up the road just in case it falls off the top, but we're bungeeing it to the roof, so it should be nice and secure. But there's no way on camera I can convey to you how loud this car is now. They made the exhaust tips stick out a bit more. You've got a nice gurney flap on the back, which looks absolutely stunning for increased downforce at high speed, as well as the Litchfield badge above the GTR. They've put an LM660 badge on here as well to show the increased horsepower, but I haven't got that on my insurance, so I'm going to probably take that off when we get home, just because I don't want an indicator of increased performance on the back of the car, because that's another insurance modification, and I'm trying to keep the total mods down to a minimum. I think it'd look a bit cleaner without it as well, but absolutely gorgeous, and I'm so excited to get this thing out on the road and see how it drives. And a little bit scared, but I've been explained how the rolling launch and the boost settings work in terms of how to set the maps. You basically just hold the cancel button, and then the rev indicator goes up to what RPM you are to tell you what map you pick. But what is going to be exciting is we're going to bolt the camera up and get a reaction out of everyone at work who hasn't had a ride in it yet, specifically because I knew I was doing this to the car. And I'll get first reactions off everyone again when I've got my cameraman back. But unfortunately, you're not going to see my first reaction, but I'll try and impersonate it when we get home. But anyway, I think I'm about to head off. Dad's just strapping the exhaust to the roof of the Beamer, which is a bit sad when the paint's so good on it, but luckily we've got some towels and stuff and bungee, so it should be all right. Gonna have to keep it slow so it doesn't fly off the roof, aren't you? But I've got all the other spare parts in my car, so the downpipes, the old sump pan, injectors, all that good stuff. So we've actually got everything mocked bar the brakes, which I don't really think we want. I've got the old air boxes as well to make sure I can revert the air intakes back to stock, although I'm obviously never going to. But yeah, I think I'm about to head off, and Dad's probably going to beat me home anyway because he's older and can afford speeding tickets and I can't, so you know.
I can't go too fast.
Not with that on the road. Well, as I've parked the car up for the night, it's just started to rain, so that is perfect timing to end the vlog. I'm sorry you didn't get any reaction to me driving it, but I played with all of the, I'm trying to get under the shelter a bit there. I played with all of the settings, so things like the different maps. I'm basically going to be driving it in the high octane mode 99% of the time anyway, with traction control enabled, obviously. But yeah, it is a completely different car, to be honest. First and second is more powerful, but I'd say it's really noticeable on the high end when you pull in past sort of 60. Not that you would, obviously, but if you did pull past 60, that extra power is definitely much more deployable. The traction control is slightly more intrusive than the Nissan standard one, but I feel that is very necessary for the car itself to stay stable in first and second gear. And even though it is more intrusive, it's like as in it occurs more often, I'd say how it impacts the driving experience is less noticeable. It doesn't slam the brakes on, it doesn't cut the throttle anywhere near as aggressively. It's much more subtle in its execution of providing traction control to the car. The noises are insane. The fact that it's got standard recircs on it, but with those air intakes, means it has that insane turbo induction noise. And when you get off the gas and it goes tss, it properly sounds like a Fast and Furious car. And the speed is definitely noticeable. Like, I didn't notice how much more ground I was covering when I put my foot down until I got around my local roads and I knew the area. And then I realised how much faster this was than the car previously. But Yeah, in excess of 660 horsepower, a lovely carbon wing on the back. And while she is definitely needed a clean after murdering so many bugs on those 2 long motorway runs, as you can tell by the front end there, absolutely horrendous. It is now a completely different vehicle, and next video I will definitely be sharing with you some reaction videos of people when lockdown's over, reaction videos of people experiencing this car for the first time, because it is just otherworldly. And the exhaust now, with the 2018 titanium catback, stainless steel wide pipe and stainless steel downpipes, this car just is a completely different car entirely, and that carbon wing on the back just makes it look so much more aggressive. It's made by the same company up near Silverstone that used to do the carbon fibre work for Red Bull Racing, but it is just an absolutely lovely finish on it, really high lacquer finish. It's just absolutely lovely, and I love the fact that I've got a little Litchfield badge above the GTR logo as well. Really nice touch, and I think it makes it much more premium and look a bit more exciting than it did before. Coupling that up with my V6 twin number plate, I think the car is looking better than it ever has done, and I think it is now a proper supercar killer, as opposed to a car that can run with supercars, because now it will munch a Huracan. It'll probably munch a Huracan Performante, to be honest, especially with its like rolling launch features and stuff from a roll, and especially with adjustable boost on launch. This is the most customizable car in terms of going fast, and I think all these extra toys you get with all the ECU tech goodies make it a different beast entirely. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the collection video. I know it was very brief, but I didn't really have a cameraman. I didn't bring it with me because I needed to drive the car, and I was shattered after my night shift last night. So I need to get some sleep before my shift in a few hours. I'm going to try and get my head down for an hour and leave you guys with some lovely shots off the GTR. But stay tuned for some reaction videos and some in-car driving videos, because this car is otherworldly.